My Canon 90D camera that I bought for £1,000 blew up because of a product that I bought on Amazon. Because the product failed to prevent an electrical surge of power to the camera, which blew the camera up. And quite frankly, it's lucky that it didn't burn down the building in the process. But this video is a serious warning to anybody that buys anything on Amazon ever, so make sure you watch all the way through because this might be a game changer. Welcome back to the channel. If ever you buy anything on Amazon, I suggest that you look very, very carefully at the box where it says to add to basket, buy now, dispatches from, and sold by. And I say that because this wording here is quite critical. It might appear at first glance just to be very simple, but sold by might be Amazon, as in this case, or it might be any third-party seller that you may or may not be aware of on Amazon. Amazon is not just a company that sells you products, it is a marketplace. Now, forgive me if I'm teaching you the basics here. My intention is not to teach you the basics. My intention is to start from the basics so that the revelation in this video may open your eyes somewhat, because there is a serious issue, in my view, for consumers, not least of which in England and Wales, but certainly across the board around the world. And I know that some cases have come to court in the United States with differing results in different courts, with federal courts and appeal courts overturning decisions and holding Amazon liable for reasons that will become clear in this video. So this product that I bought was from a third-party seller listing it on Amazon, amazon.co.uk. Amazon is, as I said, a marketplace for sellers that includes Amazon selling products that it has bought or made or sourced and selling them to you. But if it's a third-party seller, my general rule of thumb is I don't tend to buy from third-party sellers. Now, many people will criticize that for good reason, and that's to say don't support Amazon, support instead the individual sellers, the individual businesses, and I'm all for that ordinarily, but for the reason that more often than not, I have been caught out and ended up with problems because of buying it from a third-party seller. Now, in the case of the product that I bought that blew up my camera, it was indeed a third-party seller. The reason I bought it from a third-party seller is that Amazon just didn't have it in stock. It didn't seem that it was likely to be available anytime soon, so I bought it from this third-party seller. Now, on the one hand, it might just be a wholesaler distribution company outlet. It might be a local business that's bought and is selling, or it might be a local manufacturer, or it might be direct from a manufacturer or whatever. In this case, it wasn't. This was a wholesaler, but selling it presumably as just some kind of international import, stock it at Amazon and sell it to UK customers. But the problem came when I wanted to raise this issue with the seller, because just again to tell you the basics, forgive me if this is quite straightforward to you, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you buy from a third-party seller on amazon.co.uk, or if you're anywhere else in the world from amazon.com, you are buying from the seller. Your contract is with the seller. Amazon is the marketplace facilitating the transaction between you and the seller. Your contract is and always will be with the seller, not the manufacturer necessarily, unless they are one and the same, which is the case sometimes, but usually not. It's more often a third-party seller who is selling stuff made elsewhere. However, when I contacted this seller, and I'm not going to name them just yet because this is an ongoing thing, I will, as I ever do, continue to update you as these things go along. And before we get the keyboard warriors say, why are you, taking time to talk about this? It's so that everybody understands the problem that I'm going to explain in just a moment. Just like the parking charge notice. Yes, it was only £60, but successful and wealthy people don't get or stay successful or wealthy by wasting money. So I'm not in a habit of wasting money. So I do pay attention to these things. Anyway, with that out of the way. This I contacted the seller for. They said, well, I can see that Amazon has already refunded it. That's because when I first contacted Amazon, not realizing that it was a third-party seller, they said, oh, actually, this is from a third-party seller, but not to worry, we've refunded the product. Now, the product was 30 or 40 pounds, so not here or there in comparison to the price of the camera. The seller, back to the seller, said, I can see that Amazon's refunded it. Have a nice day. I quote, I kid you not, word for word, have a nice day, they said. So I went back and said, no, that doesn't solve the problem. Your product has blown up my camera because it failed to prevent an electrical shortage or whatever it was that caused it. It was the product that was plugged into the camera and blew up the camera, directly or indirectly, whatever. It blew up the camera. I said, that's not good enough. I need a resolution here. They said, well, all we can do is refer you to the manufacturer. Have a nice day, or words to that effect for a second time. I went back again and said, no, my contract is with you, not the manufacturer. They might provide some kind of warranty, but that's expired by now because this was just over a year. And you may remember from previous videos, you have 6 years within which to claim a breach of contract for a defective product under the Consumer Rights Act in simple contract in England and Wales. They said, go to the manufacturer. I said, no, my contract is with you. They said, well, there's not much we can do. Here's the manual. I think they sent me the manual or something from the manufacturer. And again, wished me on my way. I thought that was it because I thought I'm not going to get anywhere with this seller and it would take a long time to try and sort it, to try and sue them and all this sort of stuff. I sat on it for a few days to decide what to do. And within literally a day or two, Amazon contacted me directly and said, we're sorry that you've had trouble with this. Can you provide us all the details? What's it going to cost to repair, that sort of thing? And I said, well, it's very nice of you to contact me. I don't know what it will cost to repair yet. I've sent it away for an estimate to Canon to get an estimate for repair. The estimate came back was over £650. The report basically said dead. So rebuild with the new PCB, the new frame assembly, the new lens assembly, the sensor assembly, and reconstructing it and blah, blah, blah. 650 odd pounds. So interesting trivia there. To rebuild a camera virtually entirely by Canon was £650. Now, I said, when I get this, I will send it to you. So I sent it to them when I got it, and then Amazon this is, and then they said, right, well, we'll pass this off to our insurer. I'm quietly optimistic. I thought, great. Let's see what the insurer says. They come back and so far has said the same thing, that you need to go back to the seller. So I thought, well, that's what I thought to begin with. I do think there is a serious test case to be made here, but I'll come back to that in a moment. But that put me back on the trail to look back at this point here. To obviously this is the placeholder. It wasn't Amazon. It was a third-party seller. So then I look up the company and I find the company name and I go through. It took me a long time. It wasn't on the product page. It wasn't on the invoice page. It wasn't on the summary page. I had to go into the product listing, search for the company details, which keeps moving around. By the way, I've done this before, but it kept moving around. But then when I looked at the address given for the company, it was an address in China. Not a UK-based company. It was in China. So to sue a company in China from the UK is not going anywhere. It will be a waste of time. But then I look at the VAT number, which is a UK VAT number. So then when I look up the address for the VAT number, you can do a VAT check and check the address registered for that VAT number. It comes up with this address here, which is HM Revenue and Customs, Ruby House, Aberdeen. And so obviously I blanked out the name of the company and the VAT number because it's ongoing. But this is the address given for the company for their VAT number. And as you can see here, this is a government building, UK government property asset building for Revenue and Customs. And this address is the one given for what's referred to as a non-established taxable person in the United Kingdom, which is a company that is not established in the United Kingdom but needs a VAT number. And the unit that deals with these is now in Aberdeen, Scotland. So the VAT number leads me to an address that is just for VAT purposes, and the company is in China. So to sue that company is going to be pretty difficult because it's just not going to respond, let's face it. And even if it did respond, they're never going to pay, even if I won the judgment. But this is where the problem comes in. Because if you are a consumer buying on a marketplace from Amazon.co.uk, it is not, in my view, sufficiently clear if you are buying from a non-established taxable person in the UK. If you're buying from someone abroad, you're technically importing the product, but if they've stored it at Amazon's warehouse and it comes to them and you don't get notice of import and all that sort of stuff, you're going to be very stuck as to what to do about it. Now, in my case, I'm £1,000 down because my camera blew up. Because I bought this camera from a third-party seller, it blew up the camera. Amazon thus far has said, probably the seller's fault. The seller thus far has said, it's the manufacturer's fault. The manufacturer, I could technically sue because any manufacturer that puts their name on a product or anybody that supplies it and everything else, so on and so on, might be liable under the Consumer Protection Act for a product that causes damage or injury. Oddly enough, not for the product itself. You don't claim for the product itself. That's dealt with separately, but that's a bit of a trivia. But the manufacturer could be liable as well, but they are not based in the UK either, so far as I'm aware. So if you are buying something from Amazon and it's from a third-party seller, take the time to, especially if you're using it in conjunction with an expensive device like a camera, take the time to look at the address for the company. This is not to say every company abroad or, certainly not in China or anywhere else is bad. I've dealt with lots of companies over the years in China that have been perfectly fine. But just know that you're going to struggle to reclaim compensation and financial remedy from these companies for damage to your products if they are not based in the UK. It's bad enough, it's difficult enough when they are based in the UK, let alone when they are abroad. But my problem with that is this. Amazon did not make this sufficiently clear on the website, in the summary, in the invoice. It was only when the damage was done, literally, that I even thought to look up this company name and find that they're not in the UK and then have this problem here. But Amazon, as a facilitator of marketplace transactions, in my view, may well be liable because they are providing a service of facilitating the transaction. There's got to be something there for a test case which has never been brought. There's literally no case law that I can find in England and Wales that is anything close to authoritative on this point, that a consumer can sue Amazon for the liability of a defective product by a third-party seller, much less if they're not even based in the UK. I think this is a very serious issue. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Were you even aware of that these companies could be abroad and just storing the stuff with Amazon, they fulfill it to you? Because an interesting point here, I do pay for Amazon Prime, Premium, whatever they call it these days, so that I get unlimited swift deliveries, because when I need something, I need it now. So this came by a premium delivery, Prime delivery, whatever they call it. And it was delivered the next day, I think. And that is a service that I am paying Amazon for. And their terms say that they are simply facilitating the transaction. But does that mean they're off the hook completely if they sell me a product that blows up my camera? What if it burnt down my house and my insurance, for whatever reason, didn't want to cover it and they wanted to blame the product or something else? That is a problem. And that is a problem that needs fixing. So as always, I will let this play out. I will see what happens. This may well be one that is worthy of bringing as a test case to see whether Amazon would be held liable for not making it sufficiently clear that this seller was not in the UK and thus going to make it difficult to enforce my consumer rights in respect of buying something on Amazon. So let me know what you think to that one. That is a fairly difficult situation, I feel, for people to be buying on the Amazon website. Now, of course, lots of the Amazon haters will join the comment section and let me know exactly what you think of Amazon and serves you right and you shouldn't buy from Amazon and all that sort of stuff. I don't care, frankly. The vast majority of things that I buy on Amazon are perfectly fine. Amazon have always, when it is Amazon that's selling it, have always resolved the problem, if not straight away, in the end. They've always resolved the problems that I've bought stuff for. Not that there are that many, there have been problems. But let me know what you think in the description below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. I know 60% of you that watch don't subscribe, so please do that. It does help the channel grow and helps me to spread this free guidance, not legal advice, but free guidance. And in the meantime, thank you for watching.